Here's a tutorial on how to use the SplitGrid script for After Effects. The script UI is separated into 4 sections. There's the main section, there's the Arrange Layer section, there's the Create Solid Panel section, and the Create Dividers in Grid section. The script works in a way that it divides the comp that you're working with by the number of columns and rows you choose. It shows the total number of panels that are created. You can choose the column direction, the row direction, the priority, whether you want rows first or columns first, zigzag, as well as if you want to have a space between the panels and add borders to it. Let me show you how simple it works. With the Create Solid Panels, it'll create the number of columns and rows that you decide on. So say I want to have 2 by 2, it'll create 4 panels. If I wanted to make it 4 by 1, it'll create 4 panels horizontally, just like that. Or if I wanted to have 4 by 4, it'll create 16 panels like this. The Arrange Layers section is what arranges the layers. So say you've got 4 layers and you want to create a grid that's 2 by 2. Select the layers and hit apply, and that's it. Say you wanted to create a 3 by 3 grid. You would select 3 columns, 3 rows, which would create a total of 9 panels. Select the panels, hit apply. This is the way they're done normally. If I hit zigzag, you'll see that they're changed around. Say you wanted to add space between the layers, and just select space between layers. Select how many pixels you want across, and apply. And I'll automatically create the space. Say I wanted borders. Click on borders, and I'll add the borders on around the outside as well. Jumping ahead to the Create Dividers Grid section, it's very straightforward. You select how thick you want it to be, say 30 to match the others. Select the line color, in this case I'll have red. It'll create a single divider grid solid using mask. If you have borders checked, it'll create borders. If not, it won't, and that's it. If you check individual lines with mask controller node, it'll create individual solids with mask for each and every line, as you can see. When it creates grid and divider lines, it creates expressions that are attached to effects controls, such as these, which allows you to control the mask properties. So say I wanted to add expansion, it'll add that. If I wanted to add blur, it'll do that too. Now say I wish to create a 3-way split screen. That gets a little trickier because I've got 3 video panels that are vertical, but the video is horizontal. I'll show you how it deals with that. I'll click on Arrange Layers. Say I want to create 3 columns, and then I'll select the 3 layers. And right now it's set to none. There's a resizing ability. Right, set to none. So I do it like that. Well, that looks okay, but I want them to fill the panels. I can have it so that it fits inside, which kind of works a little better. Or even stretch fill. And that looks good, but everything's stretched out. So what I want to do is I have the ability to pre-comp the layers. I'll set this back to fit full, panel size fit full, and presto, they're all fit perfectly. What it's doing is it's taking each layer and creating a pre-comp of it in the exact size of the panels that are created. As you can see on this, it's 640 by 180. Then I can go ahead and resize and scale as much as I want and reposition. In the pre-comp pull-down, the script offers 3 different ways to create the pre-comps, plus 4 different ways on how to resize the layer once it's been placed inside the pre-comp. When creating pre-comps, there's also the ability to add mask to layer pre-comps, as well as create a layer mask control null. When you do that, it'll create an effects null down below that has effects on it applied to every mask. So you can adjust the layer mask expansion, as well as the mask feather and opacity. Sometimes it's hard to keep track of all the layers, so there's the ability to label layer colors by columns or rows. So when that's checked and you apply it and arrange all your layers, as you can see, every 4 layers is labeled a different color. Now let's go back to the Create Solid Panels section. This is the section that creates solid colored panels. Here I can select the color of the panel I want to use, in this case random color, and select how many columns or rows I want to use. Say I want to make it 4 by 3. and it creates it just like that. However, all panels are labeled red. If I wanted to have them labeled by column or row, it'll do it like that when this is checked. As you can see, each section has its own layer label color. There's also the ability to add mask to panels, as well as create panels mask control. When you do that, it'll add a mask to each panel, as well as create a null that has effect sliders. As you can see, I can adjust the expansion on these as well. And these are actually controlling the mask controls. Another very handy feature is the ability to generate solid panels that are twice the size of the calculated panel size. I'll show you how this works. With this selected, it creates solids, and they look the same. However, if you turn off the mask, it will reveal that the solids are twice the size. This allows you to actually adjust the mask expansion, and it'll still remain usable. And finally, here's how the whole thing works when you want to create split screens and use solids as track mats. What you would do is you want to have arrange layers and create solid panels both selected. Select all the layers. Under create panels, you want to have a try panels as track mats with arrange layers. When this is done and you have all the layers selected, it'll automatically create track mats out of all the solids that are created. This way, you can select the layer and resize it, move it around, and it'll actually use the solids as track mats. So say I have 4 layers that I want to create a video wall out of. Check all the settings. Make sure that apply panels as track mats is checked. Select the layers. And presto, they're all set up in an instant grid. And then if I want to change the size of some of the videos, I can go in and change it. And the solids are used as track mats. And if I wanted to add a grid to it, then all I have to do is turn on create solid dividers and grids, select how thick I want it to be, the color, say I make it purple, and instant grid. And finally, there's the Resize Comp option. When this is checked, it'll resize your main comp to better match the columns and rows generated based on the layer or panel ratio, as well as the maximum size selected. So in this case, I'll select 3840 by 3840. I'll select the layers, and it creates a comp that is literally twice the size at 3840 by 2160, using 3840 as the maximum resolution. Now, say I change it to 4 columns and 1 row and hit apply. It creates a comp like this, which is 3840 by 540. Say I want to make it larger, and it creates a comp that's 7680 by 1080. This is handy when you want to make really, really big grids. So say I'd want to create a vertical version for phones. Then I would select panel size of 9 by 16. Say I want to make it 3840 by 3840, 2 columns, 2 rows. Select the layers, and it creates it like this. The result is 2160 by 3840. And as one last bonus feature is that you can use the script to distribute layers evenly across your comp. So say I want to have these 5 layers distributed horizontally evenly. I just select the layers, select arrange layers, select 5 columns, and instantly they're lined up. And I could create a grid for them as well. Could do this vertically as well by selecting 1 column and 5 rows. Presto. Thanks for watching.